Afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry we're here under these circumstances. My name's John Sibley. I'm an executive producer with Total Traffic here in Atlanta. I'm responsible for my little group of misfits of producers and reporters. There's 29 of us here, and we send out reports and traffic and weather to 55 radio stations in 22 markets across 7 states. Want to thank everyone joining us online. WERC hosting the feed over in Alabama. Thank you guys for joining us. The Haydens, thank you. Again, our deepest condolences for Doug. Just want to recognize some of the leadership that's here. Kevin Loftus, the president of Total Traffic, as well as his assistant, Senior Vice President Alex Fife. Want to thank locally iHeartMedia for hosting this and hosting us. 94.9 The Bull for the feed and ensuring that everything went out. Our market president here is Spencer Bynes. He sends his regards and condolences as well. He was unable to make it today. He's off saving the world from us. Chris Jones, our vice president as well, has not come in yet. And the leadership for our TV affiliates that have, said they were coming. But we shall move on. I do want to thank the listeners of 105.5 WERC Birmingham, News Talk 880 WBHP Huntsville, Talk Radio 105.9 WRTR Tuscaloosa, 98.7 The River Savannah, and News Radio 1290 WTKS Savannah. Those were all Doug's stations, and they knew him very intimately for the past 21 years. For the rest of you, thank you all for coming. Lots of friends, lots of family. Joining us today is the Patriot Guard Riders and the Army Honors Team. They're here in the room with us. You'll see them later on. The family sent me a lot of photos. So, of course, we have to do a tribute video.
I'm Captain Carl in the Hardee's Traffic Center.
I met Doug when I interned with Clear Channel in 2007. I was a college student, local tech college, Chattahoochee Tech, and the instructor knew one of the anchors here, Art Maring, called him, said, "Hey, I got a student. He likes radio. I don't have any TV spots. He's willing to do radio. Can you fit him in?" He talked to his boss. "Yeah, sure, okay." I come in and I walk in. Of course, I'm just like you. I'm on the outside of the world. I'm listening to our local TV guys, our local radio guys. I grew up in broadcasting. These are my idols. And walk in, and here's Joy Barge. Here's Art Maring. Here's Margot McKenna. Here's Doug Turnbull. And in comes this guy. "Hey, hi, I'm Doug." And I'm like, "Wait, Doug? Yeah, I'm Doug. You sound like a guy in Alabama I know." "Oh, yeah, Captain Carl. He's my cousin. He's in the other..." Of course, I'm just blinded by the light. Like, this is so cool. But, I intended to do video. I was doing television, and I get sucked in this world of radio. And Doug was like, "Oh, you do TV? Tell me more." "Ooh, what are you doing with the cameras?" And of course, during my internship, we're doing packages and WGST upstairs. Before we moved to this facility 3 years ago, we were over next to Piedmont Hospital. Our studios were on the 5th floor. The big radio station, which is that side of the building now, was above us on the 7th floor, and we would go up there and shoot packages after hours and on weekends. Oh, Doug was sitting there kind of like, "What's that camera do? How's that work?" That was Doug. Doug was like, he loved radio stuff. He was an amateur radio operator. He said his brother inspired him to finally get his license, known to us in the industry as our ticket. And he was just so much fun to be around. And I'm sitting here with my notes going, "I then." So as much as we love and adore him, his Alabama audience loved him more. News Radio 105.5 and AM 960 would probably be, I'm waiting on my phone to blow up when I say this, but I asked my manager, what was Doug's biggest market? And I know my email's about to blow up right now when they're all going to sit here, start fighting, the three of them, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and Birmingham. We're bigger than them. We have a bigger dedicated audience. And to be told and be sent clips of when they did their tribute, because normally when someone passes away and you hear about it, condolences and everything. They held I was told, a half-hour segment that went long. People were calling in crying. They were so upset to hear in all three markets. He was such a staple to them. Here in Atlanta, we had Captain Herb Emery. Captain Herb Emery in the Skycopter. I'll probably get yelled at for doing that. And he passed away of a heart attack about, Floyd, 10 years ago? 11 years ago, he passed away. He was the front seat guy in our helicopter, and we'd fly around. Our camera would get the action. He would sit there. "Oh, my aching toe, the south side. You 75, I'm sorry." Great guy. But Doug was just amazing. And of course, talking with the family. Family doesn't know what we do. He's on the radio. What does he do? Well, he does traffic. Your brother had a cult following on 19 radio stations. So let me tell you about what your brother did. In Birmingham, 102.5 The Bull, 103.7 The Q, Magic 96.5, and of course our friends who are hosting the stream over there today, News Radio 105.5. You'll see a video from them coming up in a few minutes. In Huntsville, he was on 102.1 WDRM, 100.3 The River, 106.1 WTAK, News Radio 102.5, 106.5 KISS SM, and that's only half the dial. In Tuscaloosa, he was heard 4 times an hour, on 98 TXT, 94.1 ZBQ, Talk Radio 105.9, and 96.9 My FM. And then he got to be himself. He picked up Savannah, and he was doing Augusta and Savannah. Augusta was more a fill-in role, but our friends, The River, 98.7 The River, Mike Roberson, and his crew down there, who are also joining us on the stream. Thank you, guys. They interacted with him, and he got to be Doug Hayden down there. And he was so happy he got to be himself. So his stations down there, 98.7 The River, News Radio 97.7, and 97.3 KISS FM. He was all over the place. Not only that, he was subbing for Atlanta if I had someone call out. He did Augusta, Macon, Memphis, and Nashville. 7 states, and with the AM translators at night, he probably hit 3/4 of the country. Not to mention his time when he filled in at WSB with Floyd. So AM 750 WSB here in Atlanta. What a career. So a little bit of back history. I've went into the great internet archives to pull up some information on Doug. Found out he enlisted in the Army in 1984. He was an Army private stationed in Germany when he unfortunately had to return for his mother. She was ill. And then while in Brunswick, got his first radio job, roughly 1988 from what we can discern, at WPIQ-FM 101.5 Brunswick. So the 87, 88 sounds right? We got close. This is also from nefarious means to dude's background. Background checks, what? What? The internet is a cruel mistress. So, no, Doug was the kindest soul I ever met. He was a true friend. Personally trying to stay professional up here. And we'll let WERC say a few words.
My name is John Mounts. I work for iHeartMedia in Birmingham. I'm the program director for WERC. I've worked with Doug for probably 12, almost 13 years now. The first time I ever spoke with him, I said, "Hi, Captain Carl." He went by Captain Carl here in Birmingham. He said to me, "I hate that name. I'm Doug Hayden, but your operations manager called me Captain Carl, named me Captain Carl, and it stuck." And so to all of our listeners, he's known as Captain Carl. When we shared the news a couple days ago of his passing, they were profoundly upset. We had a lot of calls from people saying, he was part of my daily commute. He got me to work every day, and I trusted his information. He was great because even though he was over there in Atlanta, it didn't sound like it. He came over here to Birmingham, drove our roads, knew where everything was. He was a great reporter and an all-around great guy. He's definitely going to be missed by all of us here at the iHeart station here in Birmingham and all of us here in Alabama because he was our traffic reporter.
Whether you're on 65,
falling up 65 before
2059
inbound,
280
and Highway 31,
or 459,
merging delays
every morning,
moving slow.
It's a
Take it easy through the junction this morning.
And take advantage of traffic and weather together on the 10s. Birmingham's Morning News with JT. Everything you need for that slow ride to work tomorrow at 6 on News Radio 105.5.
Traffic and weather together.
WERC. Birmingham's known for things like UAB, Red Mountain, barbecue, and traffic.
Out for a ladder in the roadway on 25th.
And when that ubiquitous ladder ends up blocking your commute to work, you know there's a place where you can find out first.
A big old ladder laying in the left.
Traffic on the 10s all morning
We
long.
had a ladder in the roadway, 65
On Birmingham's Morning News with
We give
JT.
you traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 10.
On News Radio 105.5.
one, but 2 different ladders in the roadway along I-65.
WERC. Every day, We are your
They
commute,
still see some flashing lights on 59 northbound around 459.
your outdoor plans,
Looks like it is going to be beautiful today, sunny and cool.
and your neighborhood.
Dollar bills have shown up in Calera and Columbiana businesses.
So some good news coming from the chief in Hoover.
We are Birmingham. Every day, the information you depend on can be
what's
heard
going on and, what the future might hold.
on
And
Birmingham's Morning News with JT on News Radio 105.5 WERC.
Hey, this is JT. I work with iHeart in Birmingham, and I've worked with Captain Carl. I'm thinking probably at least 15 years. And what a great guy. And I got a chance to spend some time with him, actually, when he came to Birmingham and was in the studio with me. And having him do those, traffic reports live with me was kind of fun to watch. You get kind of used to a guy that you hear and never see, and then sitting here right in the studio with me was kind of fun. We had a great time together, and it's so sad to hear that he has passed away. But I'll always remember him. He was always really kind and always seemed to be in a good mood with me. Miss you, Captain Carl.
This is Ross Block. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you today, but please know that I'm there in spirit and joining you on YouTube. Doug was on the staff that I supervise and my colleague at TTWN for over a decade. He was a talented and diligent reporter, working hard to get the correct information to his affiliate stations and their listeners. Doug was pretty close to an ideal employee, always available to help with extra reports or producing during a crisis. And he was always interested in the why and how of what we do, not questioning the need to do it, but to help him understand how to do it better. But more importantly, Doug was a good friend to me and to everyone on our staff. As my wife battled cancer the last couple of years, Doug never failed to ask about her every time we spoke. And we had great conversations in person and on the phone about computers and technology, about his house and cars, about two-way radios, and even about the stock market, and especially about my family. In all the years we worked together, I never saw or heard Doug raise his voice in anger to anyone. Anyone, that is, except himself. About once every shift, I would smile as I heard Doug, even through the soundproof door to his studio, yell at himself for making a mistake on a report that he had just recorded, which he would then re-record. From his professional achievements to his hobbies, interests, and his family, I saw Doug approach everything with enthusiasm and dedication. I already miss Doug, and I know I will continue to feel his absence every day. But I take comfort in knowing that he leaves behind a legacy of curiosity, of enthusiasm, of kindness, and of connection. My wife Landy and I both leave you with this Hebrew prayer, Leolam al tiskach leolam lo, which means, for eternity, let him not be forgotten. As long as we hold in our hearts his compassion, his friendship, and his gentle soul, Doug will forever be remembered, and his memory will be cherished.
Good afternoon. My name is Floyd Hillman. I used to be on 95.5 WSB, did traffic for 680 The Fan, for Joy FM, and the Augusta stations, and sat across the traffic center from Doug when we were over on Peachtree. And in between each of those reports, when Doug had a break or I had a break, we were knocking on each other's booth, going back and forth. Doug was always such a nice guy. Well, everything wants to fall on me. Sorry, I appreciate this.
I was telling you.
Shut up already. Ross mentioned that you would rarely ever see Doug upset. Never rarely sad, not even mad. He was always joyous. And even if you were upset, he was going to try to find a way to make you laugh. Try to make a little bit of humor in any kind of situation. Doug always found the joy in life. No matter what he was going through, he was always trying to find the joy in life. And that's one of the things that we loved with each other. He had a little collection of little cars that he had in his booth. So I had a little 10-year-old at the time, so I would always buy cars for him. And inspiration to Doug, I started collecting cars in my booth as well. After a while, and then our breaks in between traffic reports, we started playing around with those cars and started making little crashes and crash scenes and said, all right, we'll record that. And we started doing our reports. I wish I still had those videos. Deleted them off my phone, put them on Facebook, thought they were going to last forever, and then Facebook decides, oh yeah, after a certain amount of time, we're going to delete those videos off. So we don't have those. But we found on YouTube a helicopter sound effect, so we had the helicopter sound effect, and I would hold my camera over the cars and do a little report, and I'd toss it to Doug, and Doug would do a little report, and it was just a neat little fun thing. But that's always the fun that we always had with Doug. Last time I talked to him just a week before he passed. We were catching up, and mentioned that him and Art, because Margot's, we know, is her last day is tomorrow, is that him and Art were the longest tenured people in the traffic center, and they were only started just a few months apart from each other. And it was great to catch up with him. I'm grateful now that I had that moment to catch up with him. And yeah, as Ross also said, that, you know, he might be gone from this earth, but he's always in our hearts. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you guys so much. I'm honored to be able to say just a few words about Doug. I'm Alex Fife, Regional Vice President of Total Traffic and Weather Network, and I've known and worked with Doug for 25 years. As he said, it was known as Captain Carl to the listeners across the country, and he was an Army veteran, as you can see from the Honor Guard, and that discipline and dedication he got from the Army, he took into the craft of traffic reporting in every report. He was dedicated. He did it with style, and his delivery was great. Just a brief story. I remember one New Year's Eve I had to work. I was like 22. I was young. I was like, I got to work New Year's Eve. Oh, that sucks. And I was working it with Doug. It was just Doug and I in the traffic center. And he said, nah, don't worry, we'll have fun. So we're watching Dick's rocking New Year's Eve or whatever it was. And right before midnight, Doug pops out a little splint of champagne. Hey, want a toast? And I'm like 22. Like, oh yeah, I guess let's go do it. So we had a pop at midnight and rung in the new year till 2002 into 2003 or something like that. And it was just a memory that I shared with him. Someone that was an American son, that loved this country, this wonderful country we live in, loved his listeners, wanted to make sure that they weren't going to be late, weren't going to be late to the airport or their kid's softball game or their morning commute or that ride home in the afternoon. And he really loved what he did. And I got to meet his family earlier. Mel, I got to meet you. And I also want to thank John for putting this all together. John Sibley, thank you so much, John. The dedication that Kevin and I were just saying, we both appreciate you. And you also gave us both bumps and titles. So now I'm a senior vice president, Kevin's the president. So thanks for that. I appreciate that. I'm going to call Bob. I'll call Bob Pittman tonight. Thank you. But that's it. And we have a special dedication to Doug. I'd like to call him Senior Vice President of Total Traffic and Weather Network, Kevin Loftus, my boss. Here you go, Kevin.
Thanks, sir. So I didn't know Doug well. See him around the office. He was always great, always personable, tell jokes, even in the kitchen, that kind of stuff. But he's always going to be here. And one of the things that we wanted to do was Doug Hayden Memorial Studio. So his studio, number 2 over here, we'll get in the short time we had, so we'll get a real good plaque and we'll put up there, and this will be here. And in real honor for Doug, this will be the Doug Hayden Studio, not the Captain Carl Studio. So his name will be here in perpetuity. So thank you, and our condolences.
And thank you to all the listeners that are watching from Alabama.
Present. Parts.
States, United States Army, and a grateful nation. Please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
Now we met outside early, please. I may have to use the chair to get up these old knees. But I'm happy to take you, my brothers. Appreciate it. Family allowing us to do this. Honestly. It's truly our honor. What we have here is a flag line of flags that surround the family and show our love and appreciation. All right, Captain John has put together a condolence card signed by everybody for you. And you were in the Army, so you know the challenge coin is? So it's a challenge coin for you? Thank you. This is a special coin. This is what we call our angel coin. It's angels surrounding, showing the flag line surrounding with an angel on the back. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's my honor, sir. All right, Doug Hayden, United States Army, thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. Mark? Where, Mark?
I would like to just thank everyone. Thank you so much for everyone here that Doug works with. Thank you so much for this honor and for honoring Doug. We love Doug, and so did many others. Thank you very much.
This is going to conclude our service. Thank again the listeners and viewers at News Radio 105.5 in Birmingham, News Radio 102.5 in Huntsville, Talk Radio 105.9 in Tuscaloosa, and News Radio 97.7 and 98.7 The River in Savannah. Thank you again. The family will be here for a few minutes to receive everyone, and there are, of course, drinks outside. Thank you again.
I will